Thanks, Kathy. First, all of you, thanks very much for being here. The responsibility that that a free media has is so important to democracy, equally as important as the duties and responsibility of the armed forces of democratic nations. So I'm grateful that you took the time to be here today. I also want to wish all of you a Happy New Year, which is our other purpose today. The changing of responsibility for a Chief of Staff is an important event at any military organization, but even more so today as we say goodbye to the first ever German officer who served as Chief of Staff at U.S. Army Europe, and we welcome another German officer. This transition carries a very strong message of our commitment to our ally and host nation, the Federal Republic of Germany. The historic nature of having a German Chief of Staff leading in an American military headquarters actually is a continuation of the tradition that started with Baron von Steuben, who served alongside the Continental Army nearly 240 years ago. I suspect the old Baron would be very proud to know that Mark Laubenthal has continued that tradition, as will Kai Rohrschneider. This unique cooperation between our two armies has brought our nations together in positive ways that we never anticipated. As my predecessor, Lieutenant General retired Don Campbell said when he welcomed General Laubenthal to our headquarters back in August 2014, he said, "Nations don't have relationships, people do." Marcus Laubenthal is a true friend and one of my closest and most trusted advisors. So today is a bittersweet moment as we say goodbye to Mark and his family, but we're excited for him as he moves to become the commander of the 1st Panzer Division in Oldenburg. It's also a sweet day because we welcome another great German officer, Kai Rohrschneider, and his family with open arms to our U.S. Army Europe team. We're excited about this opportunity to continue this historic relationship. 2017, the year of execution, and Kai Rohrschneider will be the Chief of Staff in every aspect of that responsibility, and we are going to be a better headquarters because of him. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
First question.
Since this model has
Thank you. A great question. Because this has turned out to work so well, and I don't want to oversell it. Obviously, there's always a challenge when you integrate an allied officer into a national headquarters. But because it has worked so well, we've reached out to other allies and invited them to provide officers either as liaison or to serve in the fabric of the headquarters. So we do have British, Canadian officers that are in the headquarters. We've had Polish officers that are working in the headquarters. We've, I think, doubled the number of liaison officers from other countries, including Eastern European countries. And the door is wide open for any of our allies that or partners that would like to do that. For a country to see it as valuable and worthwhile, they have to be confident that that officer has access to me and that is actually involved, not just a decoration. Hey, Alex, thank you very much. I'd like to mention a couple of things, but then I'm going to ask General Fulmer because he'll have it, the perspective from the German side, of course. A couple of specific examples. My desire to improve transparency with our host nation. We depend so much on Germany being willing to allow U.S. soldiers to be here, for our families to live here. Having the trust of the German population, German government was very important. So General Laubenthal was so helpful in being able to explain to civilian officials as well as academic groups, civic organizations, and of course, the Ministry of Defense, what it is we're doing. He significantly increased our transparency through deliberate outreach and also through opportunities. You saw the Verteidigungsministerin, Frau Dr. von der Leyen, in our video. Having a German Chief of Staff, I think, is what made that a feasible opportunity for her and made it possible for us to get her here so that we could explain what American soldiers are doing inside the Federal Republic. And then finally, we can't take it for granted that we can just train the noise of helicopters, the noise of live fire training. You know it well down there at Grafenwehr and Hohenfels. The community is being willing to support that. So General Laubenthal worked very closely, for example, with the city of Böblingen to help ensure we could protect a training area there near Böblingen while respecting the privacy and the quality of life of people there. So those are just some examples. And then, of course, he's helped coach me. Because I trust him so much, he would help me maybe reach out to do some things that I did not even know were possibilities, or he helped me understand why there might be friction with a particular multinational headquarters. Jörg?
If I could add, 2014 was the turning point, and we all had to get back to our basics. This was things, interoperability, how to work closely together to defend Europe in the borders of Europe. Most of us just came back from Afghanistan, totally different mission, different set of rules. And though to redefine the interoperability was much easier with this deep cooperation with the United States, Army Europe, and with General Laubenthal. So all the doors were open. It would have been open for an American Chief of Staff as well, not to be misunderstood. However, things are easier because he knew whom to call to get additional support. So it made things easier, smoother. And it was important during this time in 14, 15, 16 to have this chance. Just to give you one or two examples, or two examples. First of all, during those years when we all had reduced our forces, because we thought now we have the security being granted in Europe, and things turned around in 2014. We gave away a lot of capabilities. And one of these capabilities given away was bridging capabilities, to be capable to cross bridges with bridge equipment. And the only remaining bridging capability in Europe is with the German army together with the Brits. And we provided this bridge for numerous exercises for US forces during their exercises, but also for exercises then with NATO. This is one thing. And the other thing is what we just witnessed, the deployment of an American brigade to Europe and to Eastern Europe was of course necessary again to relearn all these procedures we once were used to when we had to run Reforger, reinforcing Germany, long ago in the 80s, last century. However, all these things, bringing in the troops to Bremerhaven and to other harbors, how to transport them through Germany with train and so on, these were things which we relearned, and again, not to use the wrong word, however, General Laubenthal to a certain degree was the door opener, made it easier, at least from my perspective. And therefore I think it was, there were a lot of challenges during the last 2.5 years during his time as Chief of Staff, and yes, we improved our common capabilities. Thank you very much. The US-American relationship has been strong and it will continue to be strong. And working together very much relies on personal relationship, not buddy-buddy. This is not what I'm talking about. It is about trust and confidence. It is something where you live through. I have 39 years of service, so I started a long time ago. When I was a young captain, I was doing exercises together with our American friends, and then luckily in 1989 the wall came down, we were reunified. And then we did operations together in Bosnia with I4 and S4. It was again with our American colleagues. And then I served 2 tours in Afghanistan as Regional Commander North in 2009 and 2013-14. And I served under the command of 4 American generals over all these years. And I always felt the trust they had in me. They really run mission command. They gave me clear goals, and they gave me all the space I needed to fulfill the mission. I always could feel it. And I had American troops under my command who had their area of responsibility, and it worked fine. So therefore, wherever we meet, there is trust, confidence, we know each other, and that is something we will continue, definitely. And so to sum it up, I really feel that there is a deep bond of friendship between us, the Americans, and the Germans, and that is something which will continue. And wherever I come to an American installation, meeting, whatever, it is always feeling like being with friends, be it here in Wiesbaden, be it in Washington, be it wherever. And that is something which will help us during the upcoming years.
Yes, up to now, I was not personally involved because it's only today the day when I took over, but I obviously observed what's going on. I think that was a really impressive deployment, needing 14 days from the day of debarkation in Bremerhaven until the troops were ready in the area of Sagan. That is really, I think, a very, very impressive time, a very short time to achieve that, and I believe that that the rest of NATO will look at this brigade and look on this deployment and on the capabilities that were displayed here, and will say, okay, that is our benchmark, and we will try to achieve something similar. I think it is an important start. And of course, in future, in the next months, the year, because it's the year of execution, I will be, I'm sure, deeply involved in Atlantic Resolve, in all the things that are going on in the different exercises that go from Estonia in the north down to Romania and Bulgaria in the south.
Will it bring more security to Europe, in your opinion?
Yes. Yes, that's very easy. Yes, I think that will bring more security for Europe because that is what NATO wants, and we are all doing what NATO in a succession of summits decided what we wanted to do.
In the very beginning, was it to strengthen the cooperation
because it was needed. It was at the time when Atlantic Resolve started, and we're approaching the NATO summit in Wales. And it's all about strategic access, like General Hodges and General Fulmer mentioned before. So the cooperation has strengthened and deepened so much. Almost every day I was involved with the German Army Command or other land forces commands in Europe to organize 50, 100, and more than 100 exercises over the last 2.5 years to get the capabilities together, the right capabilities at the right time, to provide more security to Europe. And it's easier for a German to access a German organization and vice versa. So that was, I think, the benefit very initially. Over the time, as General Rohrschneider just mentioned, I really became the 360-degree Chief of Staff and supervising every respect with regard to Atlantic Resolve and providing best staff advice to my commander, to General Hodges. And it was a very successful venture.
This is going to be the last question, sir.
Sir, a lot of communities, for example, Eastern Europe, will receive for the first time foreign troops. And I would like to ask you, what are
Would you say where you're from?
from Romania and
Yeah, great. So, as General Fulmer said earlier, the alliance made the decision to transition from assurance to deterrence. And that was announced at the NATO summit in Warsaw. So all 28 nations agreed that this was a necessary thing to do. And so deterrence required an increase in capability and demonstrating the capability and exercises. And so that's why we're seeing an increase in number of U.S. troops that are exercising in Baltic countries, in Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, as well as, of course, the arrival of the German battle group into Lithuania, which is the first steps are being taken now, a Canadian battle group into Latvia, a British battle group into Estonia. But even though we're all there at the invitation of the host nation, and we're all there as a part of a NATO response to a changed security environment, it is still the responsibility of us, the commanders, to ensure that we do this in a way that builds trust and confidence, that respects the sovereignty of each host nation, on how we move on the roads, how our soldiers conduct themselves, the interaction with the local communities. That's what good allies do, so that we're seen there as help, not as a nuisance or causing friction or causing damage. So I'm very proud of the way for the last 2 years now during Atlantic Resolve, the way our young men and women have performed their duties, the way they've conducted themselves, and frankly, for American soldiers to have the experience of spending extended periods of time in countries like Romania, to get to appreciate European history, European culture, why those countries wanted to be part of the West, and were willing to risk everything to become part of the West. So it's an opportunity, a responsibility for our soldiers.